Now then, Vinyl Monkey again. Welcome to this video. Thanks for sticking with us. I had a birthday last week. Now you may know from some of the crap I've taught before, I really don't do birthdays. I don't do any fuss. I like to celebrate my own insignificance 365 days a year. I've never really understood or had things like birthday parties or anything like that, but however, there are one or two people, two people out there who do want to mark my birthday, and they got me some presents, so I thought I'd just go through them with you dead briefly before we get into this top 10 female singers. I'm trying to avoid these top 10 singers and things for as long as I can. It's really doing me nothing. This one was as hard as ever. I had a short list, would you believe, of 36 female singers, and I've had some of them around the edges of it, in, out of the top 10 more times than anyway. It's just so bloody frustrating. Anyway, I'm going with what I've got, and comments welcome. But before that, I'm going to run through my bed. A bit self-indulgent, I know, but sharing a bit of culture. Most of them, all but one, are music related. I got a couple of books. First one, a brilliant Spanish writer, Javier Marias, his new novel, Thomas Nevinson. Anyway, I haven't started that yet, so I can't really tell you much about it yet, but the other book I got was the great, the one and only Linton Kwesi Johnson, Time Come, and this is a sort of selection of his writings going back into the early 70s. I read the first couple of chapters, which is sort of a analysis really of what was beginning to come out of Jamaica in the early 70s and putting that into some sort of context. Absolutely brilliant stuff. Well, yeah, incomparable. Linton Kwesi Johnson, superb. Then on to the music. I've got my Pere Ubu t-shirt on. I went down to London at the weekend to watch Pere Ubu basically showcasing their new album, Trouble on Big Beat Street, and what a superb gig it was. I really enjoyed it. I never ever got to see Captain Beefheart, but it felt to me like that might be as close as I'd ever get. It was quite Beefhearty in its scope, but musically and presentationally and everything, and I really enjoyed it. My partner's son was told to order this because she doesn't do online ordering, and unfortunately got me the CD rather than the vinyl, but hey ho, there we are. Still, it still sounds great. And then a couple of vinyl records. Got one by an American band, I'm not sure where. I know very little about these. It's two brothers, and they go under the name of the Lemon Twigs, and this is their new album, Everything Harmony. And it's gorgeous. It is what it says on the tin. It's all harmony. It's Beach Boys-ish, sort of early 70s, late 60s Beach Boys. Beautifully done. Lovely stuff. Yeah, Lemon Twigs. And then the other album I got was from my son. You might have seen the John Grant t-shirt he got me. This is John Grant's last double LP. What's it called? Oh, I can't even read that. I haven't got my proper glasses on. Anyway, it's a double album. There's some beautiful songs on it. I've only given it the one go so far, so I've got to get a bit more listening done of that one. But beautifully packaged as well. The album artwork and packaging is superb, yeah. So that was great. And then lastly, and most weirdly, and the one I really wanted to show you, comes in this little brown envelope, which is not really related, and this is a piece of music that's come from, it was sent from the Ukraine, but it predates, it dates back to the USSR, when Ukraine was part of the Soviet Union, and this is what is called, I think, or referred to nowadays as bone music. Now I'm not sure whether you'll be able to see this, so I've got a little light to hold up to it, and hopefully, I don't know whether this will work, hopefully you might be able to see that through there. But basically back in those days, late 60s, early 70s, Western pop and rock music was banned by the Soviet regime. Their only vinyl pressings were, state approved music, and so bootleggers basically used old x-rays, cut them up and cut into them pop songs, and this is Brian Hyland, Sealed with a Kiss, and I don't know whether you can see the sort of grooves in this little disc or not. I don't know, I can't see what you're seeing obviously, but so this is a piece of history. This is you could talk forever. You could do a YouTube series on things like this and the cultural and political and social context around them, but I ain't going to do that. I might do it in the future. I'm just going to flag it up for now. Bone Music, Brian Hyland, Sealed with a Kiss. It plays as well. I have played it. I've cleaned it gently, and it does play. You can certainly sing along and dance to it if you want to. But they were my birthday presents, and that was fantastic. So, top 10 female singers. I'm going to rattle through them. As I say, it's driven me nuts, this thing. I've had... these are ones I haven't got in, but I thought Janis Joplin, she'll be in there, the blues shouter. I love Janis Joplin, but she was in, out, she was number 10 or 11. Anyway, she didn't make it. I really wanted to get these two in. This is Mary Coughlin, Irish singer. This dates back to the 80s, this album. And she's a sort of bluesy bar, it sounds like, you can almost hear the glasses tinkling and everything. You imagine you're in a sort of a bar, you've had a little bit too much to drink, she's had a little bit too much to drink, and it's really atmospheric, lovely stuff. Great, lovely singer, Mary Coughlin. Didn't make it. And I so much wanted to get Claire Hamill in there. This is, I don't know if it's her second or third album, Abracadabra. Beautiful, beautiful voice, and just outside my top 10. But what did make it? Well, number 10, one of them was in and out, Joni Mitchell. I love Joni Mitchell. I love her songs, I love her music, I love the sort of jazz aesthetic she brings to it all. Her voice is like a jazz instrument. In doing this thing, I've had to think about, well, what is it about a voice? And it's basically, it's a voice. It's not so much, is someone a good technical singer? They may or may not be. It's, do they use their voice to move me? Am I moved emotionally by that voice? And yeah, Joni, she does. Sometimes it's so high, I think my beer glass is gonna crack, and it's a bit challenging. But I think she's authentic. It is Joni Mitchell. She is what she is, as they say. Yeah, good stuff. Number 10. My number 9, I suppose, wouldn't be categorised ordinarily as a sort of a great singer necessarily. She's a poet. Really, she's powerful. She's truthful. She's scary in some ways. I've seen Patti Smith live several times, and I am always moved, not just by her voice but by her presence. But her voice itself, she uses it, well, I suppose like a poet, so powerfully. So she is my number 9. This is her album Easter. The last one was Ladies of the Canyon, one of Joni's early albums from 1970. My number 8, Sinead OConnor, the troubled Irish woman. I say troubled, I don't know her. It's only what I read, I suppose, in the papers or wherever. She's changed her name a few times. She's now called Shuada Sadakat, I think it is. She's spoken out, she stuck her head above the parapet on all sorts of really thorny, difficult issues, from, sexual abuse in the Catholic Church to Irish unity, all sorts of issues. She's never afraid to speak out, and I do admire that in her. But it's her voice that we're talking about today, and her voice to somehow reflects, I think, some of the sort of difficulties and tragedies. I mean, her son committed suicide extremely sadly. It's on the edge. It's but there's a beauty. There's a definite beauty that just shines through it. And this is her second album. I Do Not Want What I Haven't Got. Early 80s, was it? Or was it later? No, later. I've forgotten the date of it. Yeah, late 80s. What am I talking about? Yeah, I mean the famous song on here is a cover of Prince's "Nothing Compares to You," which I think was the biggest selling single in the world, I think, that year. But there's some great tracks on here. I love, I mean, most of them she wrote. I think all the rest of them she wrote herself. The Last Days of Our Acquaintance on side 2, beautiful song. And look up, I mean, if you want to see and hear the beauty in her voice, some of the collaborations she's done, they're on YouTube, collaborations with people like Shane MacGowan, Van Morrison. I pissed Van Morrison, that's worth watching. Beautiful stuff, beautiful singer, Sinead OConnor. My number 7, Michelle Shocked. There's Michelle being arrested outside a political convention. I've forgotten what she was protesting against there. But activist, and this is their album Short Sharp Shock. This was one of a trilogy of albums. This one, the next one, Captain Swing, and the one after that, Arkansas Traveller. Brilliant albums. Captain Swing, very different, sort of big bandy sort of feel to it. But these are just absolutely gorgeous. There's a vulnerability, yet a swing in her voice. I mean, I love that the tracks on here, Anchorage and Memories of East Texas, absolutely gorgeous. Are they autobiographical, I suspect? And then a track on Arkansas Traveller, Come a Long Way, just absolutely beautiful. But I love her voice, so she's my number 7, Michelle Shocked. Real name, Karen Johnson, I think. My number 6 is Margo Timmins of the Cowboy Junkies. This is their first album. There's Margo there. She is so quiet. I've seen these a couple of times. Her style, it's whispering, it's hushed. Sometimes she's, got her back almost to the audience. It's just so quiet, and yet so totally entrancing. Gorgeous stuff. Margo Timmins of the Cowboy Junkies, my number 6. My number 5, this is Dion Warwick or Warwick. This is her album Freewheeling from 1969, I think this was. This is a beautiful album. Say a Little Prayer, This Girl's in Love with You. I mean, it sounds and reads like a greatest hits sort of thing. There's only Walk On By isn't on there. Well, there's lots, there's plenty of, because she had that many hit songs. Not all of them could be on here. She had many after this album as well. She sort of bridged, I suppose, soul and pop and a bit of gospel as well. She's got this easy, subtle, husky voice, brilliant, great range. I think she's one of those voices that can sing anything. It's even if the material's not great, and it often was great. I mean, she teamed up with Bacharach and David. She was known as their muse, Burt Bacharach's muse, which I think I don't like that sort of term in art. I think it does the person who's the muse probably some sort of disservice. But she can make anything sound great, and this is great. And I've got it down as my number 5. My number 4, Ella Fitzgerald. Jazz singer, almost the perfect voice. maybe too much so. I don't know. I don't listen to Ella Fitzgerald that much. Every time I do, I just wonder at the quality of the voice alongside the musicians, and yeah, it is. It's just brilliant. She's always worked with fantastic jazz musicians. This one's with the Lou Levy Trio, and the fact that it is just a trio really allows that, yeah, perfect voice to shine through. So she's my number 4, Ella Fitzgerald. My number 3, and I'm holding up a couple of albums here. I've got 3 or 4 albums by this artist, and some people really don't get this artist. I think she's a bit middle of the road or whatever, but I've always, since I first heard her back in the early 70s, and first seen her on Top of the Pops singing, first time I ever saw Your Face and all of that sort of stuff. Roberta Flack. This is the album Chapter 2 from 72, and this is the one that preceded it, Quiet Fire from 71. On this album, the version of Bridge Over Troubled Water, for me, it surpasses the original. And it's just, both of them are just beautiful, perfect albums. She's got a really minimalist, smooth, sophisticated style. I don't know, is it soul, is it pop, is it middle of the road? I don't know, I don't care, it doesn't matter. But a beautiful voice in my opinion, so I've got it down as my number 3. My number 2, the English Sandy Denny, the late Sandy Denny, who died tragically young. Started, I think, with the Strobes, then moved on to Fairport Convention. This is Legion Leaf, their brilliant album, and then formed their own band, Fotheringay, with a future-to-be husband. There's Sandy Denny there. She wrote most of the songs on this album. This is the one I really want to hold, because I think her voice and her songwriting really, really shine through. She's a brilliant songwriter. She wrote Who Knows Where the Time Goes, which was covered by lots of other people. And she's just got this beautiful English folk voice. She remains the only person ever to, the only other vocalist to appear on a Led Zeppelin album, obviously when she collaborated on Led Zeppelin 4 beautifully on there. But just an absolutely gorgeous singer, taken far too young. Sandy Denny, my number 2. And that just leaves my number 1, which is the incomparable Nina Simone. This is a repress, a beautiful repress, actually sounds fantastic, of Nina Simone and her friends. So her voice, for me, it's almost scary, but it's I don't know, it's ageless, it's timeless. If I hear it, I heard it the other week. I was in a record shop somewhere, and her voice always stops me in my tracks. I have to stop what I'm doing, flicking through the records or talking to somebody or whatever. It just stops me in my tracks. It is powerful. It is just unbelievable, really. I'm not sure there's been anybody else quite like Nina Simone. Maybe there has, maybe, I don't know. But not in my collection anyway. So she's my number 1, Nina Simone, and that's my lot with my top 10 singers, hopefully. So hoping to go on to something more interesting next time, but hopefully you'll join me for that. Cheers.